How brutal were the Islamic Caliphates? From conquest to cultural erasure, let's delve into the dark reality of early Islamic rule. The Islamic Caliphates are often depicted as beacons of early modernism, vast empires that spread across 3 continents and fostered cultural exchange. However, despite their undeniable contributions to history, the methods employed by the Rashidan, Umayyad, and Abbasid caliphates to expand and maintain their authority paint a grim picture of conquest and suppression. Join us as we unravel the harsh realities of life under these mighty empires. After the Prophet Muhammad's death in 632 CE, his followers, now known as Muslims, were scattered throughout the Arabian Peninsula. Political fragmentation and tribal rivalries were rife, and the nascent Muslim community struggled for recognition and unity. Enter the Rashidan Caliphate, which in Arabic means rightly guided. Established in 632 CE, this first major Islamic empire was named so because its first 4 caliphs, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, were considered rightly guided leaders by Sunni Muslims. These caliphates were considered the epitome of righteous leadership, setting the standard for those who came after them. Despite their claim to righteousness, the Rashidan Caliphate embarked on a series of military campaigns that led to the conquest of vast territories outside of Arabia. By 661 CE, their dominion stretched from the Arabian Peninsula into Iraq, Syria, Palestine, Egypt, North Africa, and the Iberian Peninsula. This rapid expansion was not achieved through diplomacy or peaceful coexistence. Instead, the Rashidan employed military force to subdue neighboring kingdoms and empires. Among the most significant victims of this early Islamic expansion were the Byzantine and Sasanian empires, 2 superpowers of the time. The Byzantines, who ruled over the eastern half of the former Roman Empire, lost control of their Levantine territories to the Muslims within a few decades. Similarly, the Sasanian Persians, who had dominated much of the Middle East and parts of Central Asia, were also overwhelmed by the rising Islamic forces. The speed and intensity of these conquests raise questions about the nature and brutality of the warfare employed by the Rashidan. While the Rashidan Caliphate is remembered as a period of great religious zeal, it was also a time of immense violence and subjugation. Under the banner of spreading Islam, the Muslims engaged in conquest and sometimes resorted to extreme measures against those who refused to convert. The treatment of non-Muslims, known as people of the book, due to their scriptures being written in books, differed across the empire. In some areas, non-Muslims were allowed to continue practicing their faith, but they faced discrimination and were often subjected to extra taxes. In other regions, conversion to Islam was mandatory, and those who resisted faced persecution or expulsion. One of the most controversial aspects of the Rashidan's rule was the practice of forced conversions and slavery. The Muslim concept of jihad, often translated as holy war, played a significant role in the expansionist policies of the caliphates. While jihad has multiple interpretations, one understanding, as expressed in the Quran, encourages Muslims to fight against those who oppose their faith. This led to a series of violent conflicts where non-Muslims were given the option to convert to Islam, pay a special tax called jizya, or face military action. In many cases, those who chose not to convert were marginalized and subjected to second-class citizenship, limiting their rights and access to resources. The early caliphates actively participated in the slave trade, capturing and selling people from conquered territories. Slavery was deeply ingrained in many societies of the time, including among Muslims, and the caliphates built upon this existing system, perpetuating it for centuries. This dark aspect of the Rashidan Caliphate challenges the notion that these early Muslim rulers were solely motivated by religious ideals, suggesting that political ambition and material gain also played a crucial role in their expansionist campaigns. To fully grasp the impact of the Rashidan Caliphate, it's essential to examine how the diverse populations they encountered responded to their rule. The Muslim conquests caused widespread upheaval, forcing communities to choose between conversion, subjugation, or resistance. For instance, in Persia, the once proud Sasanian subjects faced the destruction of their cultural sites and the imposition of Islamic rule. Similarly, the Byzantines in the Levant experienced the loss of their ancestral lands and the dismantling of their churches. In response to this oppression, rebellions and revolts were bound to occur. The Barmakite Revolt, which took place in Central Asia during the reign of the second caliph, Omar demonstrates the tensions that arose from forced conversions. Led by the Barmakite family, the revolt was primarily a response to the imposition of Islam on the predominantly Buddhist Sogdian people. The revolt ultimately failed, leading to the suppression of Buddhism and the further spread of Islam in Central Asia. It is crucial to recognize that these reactions were not limited to the conquered peoples. Internal dissent also existed within the Muslim community itself. The emergence of different schools of thought, such as the Sunni-Shia divide, led to conflicts and struggles for supremacy. The Rashidan Caliphate, while aiming to unite Muslims worldwide, also sowed the seeds of future divisions. Understanding the diversity of responses to the Rashidan Caliphate is essential in comprehending the complexity of life under their rule. It shows that their impact was not monolithic and varied, greatly depending on the region and the community. As we move from the Rashidan to the Umayyad Caliphate, which came into power in 661 CE, the story becomes even more intricate. The Umayyads expanded the empire even further, reaching into Spain, France, Central Asia, and North Africa. During their reign, Islam became a prominent force in the Mediterranean, influencing not just politics but also trade and culture. Despite this seeming prosperity, the reality for many subjects was far from idyllic. The Umayyad Caliphate continued the policies of the Rashidan, often employing a mix of military force, diplomacy, and marriages to expand their influence. Their rule saw the growth of cities, the spread of trade networks, and the flourishing of intellectual centers like the House of Wisdom in Baghdad. Yet beneath this outward progress lay simmering discontent. The cultural exchanges brought about by the caliphates, while sometimes enriching, often resulted in the suppression of local traditions and beliefs. For instance, the destruction of pagan temples in Persia and the demolition of synagogues and churches in the Levant stand as stark reminders of the heavy-handed approach to cultural assimilation. This suppression was not merely a byproduct of expansionism. It was a deliberate strategy to reinforce the dominance of Islam in these regions. While the caliphates did promote religious tolerance to an extent, allowing non-Muslims to practice their faith in return for certain taxes, this tolerance was often fragile and easily revoked. For example, the persecutions of various Christian communities, particularly in the 7th and 8th centuries, demonstrate how quickly this tolerance could disappear. The expansionist zeal of the Umayyad Caliphate led to conflicts with various powers, including the Byzantines, the Sasanian Persians, and the Chinese. Battles like the Battle of Tours in 732 CE, where Muslim forces were stopped in their advance into Europe, marked significant turning points in the history of both Muslims and the Western world. These clashes were not merely territorial disputes. They represented larger confrontations between different cultures and religions. The Umayyad Caliphate also witnessed internal strife, including revolts against its authority. The Berber Revolt of 740 CE in North Africa, where local tribes rose up against the ruling class, exemplifies the tensions that arose from the imposition of foreign rule. The revolt, although ultimately crushed, highlighted the deep-seated dissatisfaction among many subjects and the limits of the caliphate's control. Moreover, the involvement of the Umayyad Caliphate in the global slave trade cannot be ignored. The caliphates actively participated in this inhumane practice, contributing significantly to the enslavement of millions of Africans and others. This dark aspect of their rule challenges the often romanticized view of the caliphates and underscores the brutality of their expansionist campaigns. Looking back at the legacy of the Rashidan and Umayyad caliphates reveals a complicated picture. While they undoubtedly expanded the reach of Islam and left a lasting impact on history, their methods were often brutal and oppressive. Forced conversions, cultural suppression, and the continuation of slavery tarnished their record. Understanding this dark side of early Islam is essential for a comprehensive view of this pivotal period and its lasting effects. But our journey through Islamic history does not end here. Next, we will explore the rise of the Abbasid Caliphate, which promised a new era of cultural vibrancy and intellectual pursuits. However, beneath this golden age of Islam lay the shadows of inequality and suppression. Join us next time as we continue to uncover the complexities of Islamic history and challenge the myths that surround these powerful caliphates. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the dark realities of early Islamic rule. We hope we have provided you with a nuanced perspective on the complexities of history. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to show your support. Your feedback is invaluable and helps us continue sharing these thought-provoking stories.